Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Snapcraft Live. We're this week coming to you from a new and interesting location that's not my back bedroom. We're in an island in the Mediterranean, in Malta, and as such, I'm using Wi-Fi, and things might drop out or cut out, but bear with us if we do. We'll try and get right back to you as soon as possible. For those of you who haven't been here before, this is a live stream we've started doing every Wednesday at this time, and during these sessions we're teaching people how to get started with tools such as Snapcraft to build snaps of their applications and publish them for Linux users all around the world. We've done 2 of these already. This is the 3rd one. The first 2 we covered really getting started, the syntax of the YAML file that you use to build a snap, and we built a couple of snaps. We went through all the syntax and how you might construct a snap of an application that's important to you. This week, we're going to look at how you publish that application to the store. So that's actually getting the snap in the hands of other people. So initially we were just building a snap and I was installing it on my local machine, but really the ultimate goal is to spread my software far and wide. And so what I'm going to do is focus a little less on building the snap and a bit more on the publishing pipeline, how we go about getting the snap out there so that other people can install it. I've got a very simple application, and I'll not focus too much on the application, but more on the store and the process by which we get the snaps out there to other people. So hopefully, if audio is working and I get the thumbs up from my glamorous assistant who is joining me here, you'll find in the chat, if you want to ask any questions, you'll find a few good friends such as Martin and Sergio and Oliver and a few others from Canonical who are here in Malta with me, joining in to answer your questions. And they'll point me at things if you get any questions that I need to address. So first of all, let's kick off with the application that I'm going to build. Now, it's a really simple application. It's a password generator. So you've created a new account on some website and you need a nice secure password, and this is just a simple application that just generates passwords, and it does that by mixing together words and numbers. It's not revolutionary, but it's small, quick and easy to build, and everyone's familiar with the functionality, so it should be pretty easy to get a handle on. The application I've got here is, as always, in my snaps folder, which is where I do all my building, and it's called Word Salad. And in here, I've already built the snap, but I'm going to go through it again with you. So here's my shell script called Word Salad, and I'll just show you what it looks like. It's just a simple shell script, and this is what I'm going to package inside the snap. And it just does some basic smushing together of letters and numbers to provide you with a password. So every time you run Word Salad, you get a password, and you can run it as many times as you like and get little passwords. Obviously, this could be improved and made more secure with longer passwords and all that kind of stuff, but that's not really why we're here. It's just a simple application that we're going to package and put in the store. So I've also already created a Snapcraft YAML. We've already talked about the Snapcraft YAML and the format of the YAML and the kind of thing that goes in there in the previous 2 episodes, but I'll still show you what goes into the Snapcraft YAML. So here's my Word Salad Snapcraft YAML. There's the basics, metadata at the top, a simple description, confinement. I'm still iterating on my snap, so you'll remember from last time as a developer, while you're iterating on your snap, you'll probably use confinement dev mode. This allows you to understand any confinement issues that you might have and work through those before you finally publish it for your users. I'm still working in dev mode because we're just prototyping this snap for now. There's one part, which is the Word Salad shell script itself, which I'm using the dump plugin, and that's going to pick up the source that's in the current directory. The little dot there means the current directory, and put that inside the snap. And that's the only part there is. It's just put the shell script in the snap. And in fact, you can see the shell script here. So it's just going to pick that up from the current directory and put it in the snap. This source could be somewhere else, could be a remote location, could be a GitHub repo, could be a directory on my machine somewhere. It happens to be the current directory. And finally, the last stanza that I have is the apps stanza at the bottom. And what this does is expose the word salad shell script from inside the snap to the outside world once it's installed on a user's computer. I haven't listed any plugs here. You remember last time I listed some plugs to allow a snap to access things like the display or audio or network. Well, this is such a simple application, it probably doesn't need any plugs at all because it doesn't connect to the network, it doesn't display any OpenGL windows, it doesn't do anything particularly that needs access to any other resources. It just basically displays some letters and numbers on the screen, which is about as simple an application as you can get. So what I'll do is just prove that this works. We'll go back to our terminal, and I'll remove the snap that I'd already created earlier on today just to prove that this works, and I'll run Snapcraft clean to make sure I've got a clean environment in which to build this, and I'll run Snapcraft. Now, you may remember, just as a reminder, when I build using Snapcraft, I'm building inside multipass in a VM, so it'll be a nice clean environment inside the VM in which my snap gets built. Snapcraft will stand up that VM via multipass. The build will happen inside that VM, and at the end of it, hopefully, I will get a snap out, and I can then start installing it and playing with that application. So it's just going to do that. And while it does that, I'll just go back and remind you of some notes we had last week. Just a bit of reminder down here in my notes. I put this in here because sometimes people are coming to this new and they won't know the preparatory steps that I did in the first one of these, which is to install snapd support, which you'll find linked in the Snapcraft documentation. Install Snapcraft, which is the tool we're using to build the snap, and then install multipass, which is the virtual machine manager, which is what Snapcraft uses to stand up the VM in which the build happens. So I just put that little reminder in there so that if you're coming to this cold and you've not seen any of the other videos, you know what prep to do to get set up. As always, I will put these notes in the description below the video so you can look at that again afterwards. I'll paste all of this in, and there's a little bit more I'll scroll down to a little bit later. But hopefully at the moment it's now standing up that VM and building the snap. Now, this shouldn't take too long because the snap is not going to need compiling. There's no C code or nothing in Rust like last time that was taking quite a long time to build. It'd probably take more time to stand up this VM from cold than it would to actually build the snap itself. Worth noting that you'll see that I did Snapcraft clean, and that will have destroyed the VM. So what Snapcraft tries to do is keep that VM around if possible, so that if each subsequent run of Snapcraft, the VM is still there and it can jump into the VM very quickly and redo the build without having to stand the VM up. In fact, I can prove that by just running Snapcraft again. It did actually successfully build a snap. And if I just run Snapcraft again, the VM is actually still running. And it starts building the snap and finishes super fast. So that shows you just how much faster it is on subsequent iterations. So while you're iterating on this, the first time standing up the VM takes a little while, and then we've got our snap. So now I've got my snap and I can install my snap. Snap install, word salad, -- dev mode. Remember, because it's a dev mode snap, I have to explicitly specify that I want to allow this dev mode snap to be installed, because this effectively undoes the confinement of the application, and so I have to specify -- dev mode. So there we go, it's installing word salad. There we go, word salad 0.1 is installed, and I can do snap run word salad. Now, I'm doing snap run just to prove that I'm running the snap and I've not got another copy of word salad somewhere in my path. And this is a good best practice, really, is when you run snap run, you know you're explicitly calling the binary that's in the snap, because you may have, scripts in your path. You might have a deb installed of the same name. It's always a good idea to do this. So snap run word salad, and sure enough, it gives me another password, and I can just keep running that and it'll keep me passwords. Okay, so we've now got to the point where I've reached the stage where I want to share this application with other people. So how do I do that? Well, you do that via the Snap Store. So let's take a look at that. Now, the Snap Store has a web front end, and the web front end is where we can do some of the admin of the Snap, but there's also a lot of the same features we can do from the command line using the Snapcraft tool. So in some of these steps, I'll be showing you how to do things from the command line using Snapcraft, and sometimes I'll be using the web interface. So the first thing we need to do is you need to have an account in the store. And if you come to this site, you'll see up here it's got my name. Hopefully this text is big enough. You can see my name up here, which implies I've already got an account. I'm already logged in. I'm not going to go through the process now of signing up for a new account, because it's actually just like signing up for anything. It's, put in your email address and come up with a password and verify your email address, just the same as you would for any online service, right? So I can show you what that would look like if I go into a private browsing mode window. Let me just grab that window that appeared over here. And if I just show you Snapcraft.io, you'll now see it doesn't have my name there. It says developer account. So if you're coming here to register a new developer account, you just click that link and you get taken through to the Ubuntu SSO single sign-on screen, where you can either log in if you already have an account, or you can create an account in the usual way. I'm not going to go through that because that's pretty straightforward. Anyone can create an account. So let's suppose you've created an account. You're then at this front screen for Snapcraft.io, and if I click on my name, you can see I have a few options here. And if I just go down to my account details, I just want to highlight one thing. If you go down to account details, you'll see my name and my username and my email address. Now, these came from the Ubuntu SSO account that I would have signed up with. So if you ever want to know, where the name that appears in the store comes from, it's here. You can see it in here, and there's an edit button. And if you click the edit button, it takes you over to the Ubuntu SSO, where you can set your name and your username. Okay, so that's where that information comes from. Let me go back. Okay, so now I've got a store account. I now want to push my application into the store. Now, the names of applications in the store are unique. So there is only one Firefox Snap in the store, and there is only one Atom Snap in the store, and there's only one Sublime Text. But you can be creative and have a different named application. So I came up with a name of my application, which was Word Salad. And so I want to claim that name for that application for myself. And so there's a few ways you can do this, but the quick and easy way is on the command line. And the way you do it was with Snapcraft. So what I want to do now, I've got an account in the store. I want to tell Snapcraft that I want to register my name, Word Salad, so that it's mine, so that nobody else can have the name Word Salad. Somebody else could have Word Salad NX or Word Salad Advanced Edition or some other name, but I would have the name Word Salad, right? That's my name, my application name. Now there's two steps here. One is you have to log in with Snapcraft. So if you do Snapcraft login, at this point, you're telling the command line utility who you are, what your store account credentials are, because Snapcraft needs to be authenticated to the store in order to be able to push to the store. So you would need to do Snapcraft login. Now, I've already done this, so actually I can type Snapcraft who am I, and it will tell me that I'm logged in as me. I can also Snapcraft log out. And if I do Snapcraft log out, then I will not be authenticated to the store, and I could then Snapcraft log in again. Now that's useful if you have more than one store account. Maybe you've got a personal store account for yourself, and maybe you've got another account in the store for your employer's Snap packages. And you can have multiple accounts in the store. I've already done the login because, as you can see here, Snapcraft Who Am I says who I am. So we're now ready to register the name in the store. I've created an account, I've logged in using Snapcraft. I now do Snapcraft register. And I just put the name of the application that I want to register. So this is at the point that I'm saying, I want that name and I want it associated with my account. Now, Snapcraft will pop up some text, and this text is here to remind you that what we really want developers to do is register their own snaps. So we want the owner of the Firefox snap to be Mozilla, for example, and the owner of the Atom snap to be the upstream developer for Atom. That's what we would rather like in the store, rather than lots of random developers creating lots of random applications, possibly misleading users into thinking that these applications are genuine, right? So that's why this warning is here, is just to remind you that ideally we would like the upstream developer or a member of their community or a trusted member of their development team to own the snap in the store, so that users can feel confident that when they're installing that snap, in this case word salad, that it's coming from the original upstream developer and not some random person on the internet. Okay, that's the reason why this warning is here. So it's just asking me the question, would most people expect you're the developer of word salad? And I just say yes. So Snapcraft then connects to the store and requests registering word salad. I am now the owner of the word salad application in the store. Nobody else can have word salad. Now, the snap isn't even pushed to the store yet. All I've done is register the name. I've just pre-registered it because I've got my snap, it's in this directory, and I'm ready to publish it to the store. I just have to register the name first. So, the next step is, well, I want to push that snap to the store. So again, we use Snapcraft. And we use Snapcraft push. Now, with Snapcraft push, all you need to do is specify the name of the snap that you want to push. Now, there are some additional optional parameters that you can specify, but the absolute minimum is Snapcraft push and then the file name that you want to push up to the store. Now, this snap is not huge. You can see up here it's 4 kilobytes in size, which is about as small as a snap can possibly be. So it's not going to take long to upload to the store. But this will only work because I've already registered word salad. I am a contributor to that package, the publisher of that package. So, Snapcraft push. It's now pushing that snap up to the store. Now, a couple of other things to mention here. If I was pushing like many revisions of this application over time, because I'm iterating on this thing on my laptop, it would actually generate delta updates, and so it wouldn't necessarily upload the entire file every single time. Now, obviously, that's not a problem here because my snap is only 4 kilobytes in size, but if it was bigger, that might be a bit of a problem to upload these giant applications over your internet connection, especially here in the middle of the Mediterranean over hotel Wi-Fi. So generating deltas means that for a developer, there's a smaller upload if you're repeatedly uploading a minor change to an application, and that's worth noting. So, word salad is now in the store. Now, it's in the store, but nobody can actually get it yet. And the reason for that is it's pushed to the store, but it's not been released to any channels. And you may remember I talked a little bit about channels in a previous video. Let's run Snapcraft list revisions and then the name of my snap. So what this is going to do is query the store and say, show me all the revisions of the word salad snap. And there is one revision, which I uploaded a few minutes ago. And you'll notice the version number is the version number that was specified in my YAML up here. There's the version number. That's where that came from. But you'll also notice there's a revision here. And so there's something important to note here is there's a distinction between the version number that you give your application that users might recognize, like, you know, version 68 of your app, followed by version 69, followed by a big blowout, and you go to version 80 or something. There's a difference between that and revisions. Revisions are a sequential number that goes up with each time you push to the store. And because I've only pushed one snap of word salad to the store, there is just one revision, okay? And I will push another one in a bit, but there's only one revision now. But you'll notice over here, it's not in any channels, which means that if someone tries to install it, it's going to fail. You could try this right now. You could try doing snap install word-salad, and it won't work. The reason it won't work is because I haven't decided to release my application. And this is quite an important point, is that it's possible for you to be in control of when that release process happens. You could push something to the store in readiness for a big release and a big announcement. I'm going to have a big social campaign all around word salad when the version goes live. But I only want to push it to the store for now and get it ready, and then I'll do a big release. And when I do a big release, I will release the snap to a channel. Let's see what that looks like in the web UI, right? So far we've just been looking at the command line. So now, if I go up to here in the top right, you can see here I've got a my published snaps. And I have quite a few snaps in the store. And somewhere down in amongst one of these, alphabetically, you can see there's word salad, okay? And if I click on word salad, actually you can see over here it says not released. So you can see others here are in various channels, but 0.1 of word salad has not been released. Let's have a look at it in the store. So this is the main listing page in the store, and this is where you can manage the metadata and release of your application. And so here it's got the very basics, which it took from the Snapcraft YAML when I uploaded the snap to the store. So the title came from there, and you can see this text here, that's the description, that came from my YAML, that came from here. And you can see the summary here where it says word salad password generator. That there came from the Snapcraft YAML. Now you can modify this. You can change things in here, so you can update it, maybe have a change log, maybe add a more verbose description, and so on. I'll come back to that in just a minute. We'll update that a little bit later. You could also add screenshots of your application. So maybe I could open a terminal and create a creative screenshot here of word salad. So here we go. I'll go snap run word salad. There we go. And then take a screenshot of that. Let me take a screenshot. And I'm going to, whoops, it arrived on another display. Hang on, let's take a screenshot of the active window, this one. Oops. Take a new screenshot of, oh dear. Why is it not? There we go. So, save that. So I've got myself a screenshot, and in my listing page, I could upload from my local machine somehow. Why is this not working? Oh, I'm having technical difficulties here. But somewhere in my pictures folder, where is it? There it is. There should be a screenshot. There we go. I've added a screenshot to my listing page of word salad. I've also got, oh, now my browser's catching up. I've also got an icon I could add up here. So let's make my thing look a little bit better. I've got in my snaps folder, my kind friend Martin created an awesome icon for word salad. It's a very literal icon, a picture of some salad with the word word written in front of it. Why did that not upload? What's going on here? There's some gremlins. There we go. Sorry, my laptop's struggling a little bit. So now I've got an icon, I've got my description, I could set a category here. I think this falls under, I don't know, it's not quite entertainment, it's certainly not a game. Should we put this under the security area because it's creating passwords? Or is it utilities? I think it's probably a utility. That looks good. In fact, you can add a second category. I could add a second category and call it security. So it's both a utility and a security product. I think that applies. I can add some additional text down here in the description. Now, this description actually also supports Markdown. So I could embellish this a little bit by putting in word salad in bold, and I could clearly the best way to generate secure passwords. Features include, and then generates passwords. Generates passwords. There we go. So I've used the absolute minimum amount of Markdown necessary. And once I'm finished doing this, I can hit save. Now, you'll notice there's a link at the top of the page. Oh no. My icon is not big enough. Oh, crikey. It needs to be at least 480 by 480. That's a interesting change that's happened recently, but that's not a problem because what I can do is go into my apps and cheat slightly and convert scale word salad.png to word salad 480. Oops, no, 480.png and put in scale 480 by 480. Will that work? I think it will. Right, let's change the icon. Quite know why it's taking so long. Let's see if that works. I don't recommend you just upscale your icons like this, but this is just a quick and dirty hack. Yay, there we go. So I've now got an icon in there. I've followed the guidelines, and I've got my Markdown, I've got my categories. Oh, my screenshot disappeared. Where did that go? I wonder if it didn't like my screenshot for some reason. Or maybe my browser was playing havoc. Let's try that again. Right. I wonder if it got removed when I saved with an incorrect icon. Let's see. Okay, let's scroll down. Yes, it's been saved. Now you'll also know I could put a video here. If I had a video promoting how to use my word salad application, I could put it in there. I could put a link to my website. If I've got a wordsalad.io site, I could put that in there. I could put my contact details and some other bits and pieces I'll talk about a bit later. Now, once I've filled all of that in, it's still not released. So still nobody can see this application in the store. There is a Snap listing page link up here, and this is what would be my storefront. But again, I haven't released the Snap yet, so still nobody can see it. If you go to this URL, snapcraft.io/wordsalad, while we're doing this live, you won't see the Snap there. So the next step, if I'm ready, I probably want to release this, and that's the next tab across. So under releases, you can see here, I have a build down here. Now, the way this user interface works is down the bottom, we have a list of revisions that are available in the store that I could release. And up here in the top half are what's in the various channels. And you'll notice there's nothing in any of the channels. So let's promote this revision. Remember, revision 1 was the first revision of my Snap. I'll promote that, and I get a little drop down to ask me what channels do I want to promote it to. Now, here's an interesting thing. You'll notice stable and candidate are grayed out. I can't choose those, but I can choose edge and beta. And the reason for that is explained in the popover. You can't put a dev mode snap in the stable or candidate channels. You can only put it in edge or beta while you're iterating, while you're testing, because the store won't let you put dev mode, effectively unconfined applications, in the stable channel because it could contain anything. And so later on, if I want to release to the stable channel, I'm going to need to change that. I'm going to need to make my application strictly confined. But for now, it's in dev mode. So let's release it to the edge channel, because this is like my very first revision. So you just use these buttons to choose where you want to push, which channel you want to push that revision to. And then when you're happy, you press apply. Now it's in the edge channel. It's now available. So let's go back to that listing and open the listing page. And if all the caching in the world works, ta-da, we can now see my store page for word salad. You can see here a few things that are interesting. One, this banner that you see here, where it says, ensure your Snap always stays up to date. That bit only appears for me. You will likely not see that banner. So if you go to snapcraft.io/word-salad, you'll see a very slightly different version of this page than I do. You'll see down here, we've got the awesome screenshot of my application. And then down here, you'll see all the markdown that I used. Bold, a little bit more. I thought that was going to be italics, but it's not. And a bullet point. Some other things you'll notice here. The details for word salad. Last updated today. Well, that's right. I just pushed it to the store. And the license is currently unset. Yeah, I'll get there. So I'm hearing questions about my title. I'll get there in a minute. But first of all, this is important. I need to set the license, and I haven't done that yet. So let's go back to my details page, and down here somewhere is, right down the bottom, the license. Now, there's a couple of ways you can set this. You can use this custom SPDX expression, which allows you to define the license that or licenses that your application is released under in this standardized format, SPDX, or you can just type it in this box. So I'm going to release this under an MIT license. There we go. And then save my changes. Once I've done that, if I go back to my listing and refresh the page, and you scroll down, you can now see the license has been reflected. So this highlights a couple of things. One, it's great to have accurate metadata about your application in the store. And two, you're in control of that metadata. So you can just go into your listing page and update it. Now, yes, I've had calls to improve the text for my name, the title for my application. And you could do that here. So the title is taken from the YAML. It originally came from here, the name, but that's a bit technical. It doesn't look particularly nice. So we can make that look a bit prettier by using word salad like that. That doesn't change the name of the package that people will install. People will still install word-salad, but the way it's presented on the screen just looks more pleasant. So now if I refresh, we've got a pretty icon, a nice cased name. We've got the list of categories that my application is listed in. And up here, you can see a drop down which shows all the channels that my application is in, what architectures it's available for, and how to install it. If you click the little link, it tells you, a user, how to install word salad. Okay, so now we've got a build in the Edge channel. You can install this. You can install word salad should you really want to. And let's rerun a couple of these commands I ran down here. So remember I did Snapcraft list revisions, and it said it wasn't in any channels. Well, now that I've released it to the edge channel, we should see that. There we go. It's now in the edge channel. Something else we might want to do is I've got installed on my laptop the build that I made on my laptop. So if I do snap info word salad, you'll see there's the description that's come from the store. The license shows unset, and the reason for that is the license was unset in the version that's installed on my machine. This can be a little bit confusing because in the store it very clearly says here that this is MIT licensed. But here it says the license is unset, and the reason for that is simply that the version that I have installed on my machine isn't that one that was in the store that has that license. It's one that I built on my machine, that I installed on my machine, and I didn't set the license in the Snapcraft YAML file. So that's why it says unset in there. Now, notice down here, this is called the channel map, and this shows you all the channels and what they contain. And I've only got one build in the edge channel. And you'll notice down the bottom, the version that I've got installed is 0.1, but it's not revision 1 that is in the edge channel. I mean, it's very similar. It's like binary the same, but that's not what I've got installed on my machine. What I've got installed on my machine is the snap that I built here and installed manually. What I might want to do is now track the build that's in the store. And I can snap refresh word salad. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to say, I want to refresh the snap that I have installed, and I want to get the one from the store from the edge channel. And I'm also going to need to specify an additional setting, which is amend. Now, I have to specify that because what I'm saying is I'm changing the source from where this snap has come from. It's no longer side-loaded on my machine. I'm now saying amend the origin of the snap. It's now coming from in the store. I don't know why I'm pointing up there. The store's not up there. It's in the cloud. Although there are no clouds here at the moment. So if I do snap refresh word salad -- edge -- amend, it's going to go to the store, get the snap from the edge channel, and then tell my machine, you need to track the builds that are in the edge channel in the store. So if that gets updated in the store, I will get an update on my machine. Hello. We now get a message to say, well, hang on a minute, that snap is a dev mode snap. And if you're installing dev mode snaps, then you really need to specify it. So all I've got to do is dev mode. And that reminds me, we really should change this to be a strictly confined application, which will be the next thing we do. So, snap refresh word salad. This does look like a bit of a word salad here. -- edge to get it from the store. Amend to tell it to track the store. And dev mode because this is an unconfined dev mode application. There we go. So now we're downloading and it's now installed. Now I'll run snap info again, and you'll see the output will change slightly. So previously we saw that I had installed X2, the X meaning it was sideloaded. It's not a revision from the store. The X2 means it's the second revision, because I did this earlier on today. It's the second revision that I've installed sideloaded onto my laptop. But now that I've refreshed to the store, it now says installed revision 1. So I've now got revision 1 from the edge channel. Awesome. So now, is there any questions I need to answer from the chat, or are you guys on top of that? Sweet. That's great. So now, the next thing I probably want to do is consider making this a strictly confined application, because remember, I can't release this to the stable channel. All of you could install this, but you too will need to specify dev mode because it's a dev mode snap. And nobody really wants this unconfined, dangerous shell script on their machine. You know, it could do anything. So let's strictly confine it. to give you some more confidence that it's not going to break out of that containerization and not going to be able to stomp all over files on your system or access anything it shouldn't. So I'm going to need to rebuild the snap for that. And it's pretty simple. Remember, here's our YAML. And what I'm going to do is change confinement to strict. I'll save that and run Snapcraft again. Now, you'll notice here it's starting the VM. Remember I said earlier, it keeps the VM running. It keeps the VM running for a little while. It has a delayed shutdown, and then the VM is shut down, so it's not wasting resources on your system. And because I've been babbling away for 40 minutes, the VM got shut down in the background. So it's now starting the VM up, but the VM still contains all the cached data and software that's necessary to build the snap. So it's still going to be faster to build the snap. Brilliant. And it's done. So now it's built that snap, and that snap is now a strictly confined one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a bit gun-ho, and I'm going to push that straight to the store. How do we do that? Again, Snapcraft push the snap that was just built. I haven't even tested it. I'm going to leave that to my QA team. That's you. Snapcraft push word salad, and what I'm going to do this time, slightly differently, is release it. So, previously I just did Snapcraft push the snap, and I didn't release it. And remember, I had to go through the steps in the store to actually release it. This time I'm showing you the command line way to do it, which is push to the store and release as soon as it's been pushed. Oh look, it did a delta, which is interesting given it's only 4K in size. But that goes back to the comment I made earlier, where if you're iterating on a snap and you're pushing multiple times in succession, then you might save a bit of bandwidth by having these deltas generated. Now, we've got a bit of extra output here, as well as the messages about it being a delta. There's some extra information here because we specified to release as well as push to the store. So we've pushed, and then we've said, as soon as you push it, release it. Now, there's an extra step in the middle that I haven't really talked about. And we won't talk about in too much detail today, but this little processing step here that you saw, where there was a little spinny, there's a set of tools that run in the store that scan my snap to make sure that it's a valid snap file, and it does a whole bunch of other checks and balances to make sure that this is a sane application that could be installed on an end user system, that it conforms to various standards and is likely to function correctly. Now, that doesn't mean it's bug-free code. All it means is it conforms to a whole bunch of standards and security checks that we do on every snap that gets uploaded to the store. And that's what the little processing there was. It usually doesn't take very long. Obviously, the larger the snap, the more complicated it is with more files. There's more things to scan, and it can take a little while. But it'll just sit there processing in the back, in the foreground, while you're uploading. And then it's released. So now, if I go back to the web and have a look at my store listing page, it still says latest/edge 0.1 and still says updated today. But if we go snap info, word salad, I forgot the name of my application for a minute there, word salad, you'll see that revision 2 is now in the store. Now revision 2 is in the Edge channel, but on my local machine, I've still got revision 1. Now, if I just left my machine alone for a while, after some time, the snapd daemon would automatically refresh, and I would just automatically get revision 2 of this snap. It would just come down automatically. I think by default, snapd refreshes from the store all your snaps 4 times a day. You can defer that. So I sometimes have that deferred on some machines to the weekend and sometimes to overnight, because I would like to be in control of when those things refresh on my system. And you can push it back. So if you just don't want it refreshing any of your snaps, you can push it back for days and days and days. But what you can also do is force refresh. Now, if I just type snap refresh, then it's going to refresh every single snap on my system. It's going to go and check in the store to see if there are any new revisions higher than the ones I currently have in any of the channels I'm subscribed to, download them and install them. I don't necessarily want to do all snaps right now because some of them might be quite large and I don't want to waste your time watching me download updates to Firefox and whatever. So I can say snap refresh word salad. And you could do the same. If you've installed word salad, you could just do snap refresh word salad. You'll also notice that the version I had installed, revision 1, was dev mode, but revision 2 is not dev mode. Hopefully this will finish soon. As I say, my connection is a little bit saturated streaming video. There we go. Done. Now, I don't know if you saw everything that was displayed there. I'll show you a little trick in a minute. But now, if we just show snap info word salad, you can see I'm now running revision 2 from the Edge channel. And I've updated my snap. If any of you had refreshed, you would get revision 2 as well. And I should be able to snap run word salad. And I get a new password. Awesome. Any questions from the chat at all? All good? Great. I'm glad you're on top of all of this. So, what have we done so far? We have registered the snap in the store. We did a Snapcraft register after I'd created an account in the store. We've used Snapcraft to build a snap, which we covered in more detail in the previous videos. And then I've done Snapcraft push to take that snap and put it in the store. Remembering that when I do Snapcraft push, it doesn't release by default, so nobody would be able to get that snap. I then went into my store page, and I was able to update my store page, which is somewhere here, my store listing. And I can tweak this and make this look pretty, add screenshots. I remember I mentioned down here about screenshots. I said you can add screenshots and videos. You can also add ASCII cinemas. So if it's a command line application, you might not want to embed a full video, but ASCII cinema is quite a nice way. You can embed those, and the store supports those. You just put the link straight in, and then when a user visits the page, they'll see the ASCII cinema. I can actually show you an example of that. If I get a Snapcraft IO LexD, LexD uses ASCII cinema. So this is an example of a well-constructed store page. So this in the front of the LexD store page is an ASCII cinema. It's probably not streaming very well because my poor little laptop is struggling, but there is one there. There is a video there. And you can also put YouTube videos in there. So Postman is another application that's got a nice store page, and this one has an embedded YouTube video which plays and gives a detailed description of what that application is. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, I can customize my listing page. I can release my application from within here. And there's some other things in here that we'll go through. Metrics. Now, once my snap has been installed by a significant number of people, I will start to see metrics for how many installs there are. I don't get any detail about who those people are. It's all completely anonymized. All I can see is how many people are running which revisions of my snap. So I can have some idea of how popular my snap is. You also get a simple world chart to give you an idea of how diversely across the world your application is installed. I think it's likely that most of the installs for this will be in Malta right now. But this graph will update on a daily basis. So you can come back here and check the stats. You can get to see weekly active devices that have your snap installed. You can get a breakdown of operating system, so which Linux distributions are most popular with your application. And you also get to see, what's the other thing? The versions. Is it versions? Yes, the breakdown of which versions of your application, so you can see who's running, how many people are running each version of your application. And then that data goes back, 2 years. If you had put something in the store 2 years ago, you would have 2 years of data. So it's quite nice to be able to come in here and see those graphs. The next thing over here is really cool. This is the publicize area. Now this is really cool to be able to highlight that you've made a snap. So it's all very well putting it in the store, but you really want to point people to the store. And so we have these little buttons. There's a dark background button and a light background button. And you can either link directly to them just using these snippets of code, or you can download them down here with the zip or tarball. And the idea of this is you can put them on your website, maybe on your download page. So maybe you've got a picture of a Windows logo for download the Windows version, and maybe you've got a picture of an Apple for the Apple version, and then you could have a button for the Snap Store that takes you to your listing page. And your listing page will always be snapcraft.io/ and then your snap name. You just link to that, and then we show the user your presentation that you've listed in the listing page, which is pretty groovy. This is all open source, by the way, the snap buttons. They're in a repository on GitHub, so there's a number of translations already there for these buttons, so you can get the buttons in the language you want. But equally, if you want to contribute, you could contribute translated versions of these buttons on GitHub, and there's a link over here. It's under Snapcore Snap Store badges. I'll open that because then you can see. Oh, I opened it incorrectly. So yeah, on GitHub in the Snapcore project, there's Snap Store badges, and you can contribute translations to those should you wish to. Finally, there's this settings tab over on the far right hand side. Now, there's a few settings in here that are interesting. One, there's 3 options for privacy of your snap. Now, my snap is public, and it's public by default. But if you're not ready to share your snap with the world, you can change it to be private so that only you can see the snap in the store. You can also have collaborators. So these might be people in your development team or friends or QA people who are going to test this snap out before it's released to the wider community. So by switching it to a private snap and adding collaborators, you're making it possible to share your snap with other people so they could review your listing page and also try out your snap and refresh it from the store, but nobody else would even be able to see that the snap was there. There's also an option for unlisted. So maybe if you're kind of doing a stealth startup and you want to like put it in the store and have lots of people find it, but you don't really want to advertise it too heavily, you can make it unlisted so that it doesn't show in search results and listings. It's also possible to limit the distribution of your application in particular territories. So for example, if your application uses APIs for a particular service that's only available in a particular country, then you might want to limit where people can install the snap. It might not make sense to install an application outside China that accesses APIs that are only accessible inside China, if that makes sense. That doesn't always work super well because geo-IP location detection isn't 100% accurate, and maybe someone is traveling from China to another country and so their IP address is not a Chinese one and you're limiting them. So you have to be a bit careful with this because it's not 100% reliable because that geo-IP stuff is a little bit out of our control. And that's about it on that page. I don't think there's anything I've missed in there. Oops. There we go. I think that's everything I wanted to cover about the store. I had some notes in here. Let's go back over the notes. I said we want to understand how to push to the store. We've covered that with Snapcraft Push. Get to grips with the release process. Well, you can release using the listing page in the Snap Store. And we also looked at how to manage all the settings around your application. One thing we might want to do now is release this to the stable channel, because I'm sure all of you have tested this very thoroughly. I know I have. Let's just give it one more test. Remember, I'm running word salad from the edge channel. Let's promote it to the stable channel. Now, there's two ways you can do this. Again, you can either do this from the web UI or from the command line. So I can just press promote here, and when I press promote, it'll say, where do you want to promote it to? Now you'll notice it's unlocked my capability to promote to stable and candidate because I made it a strictly confined snap. It was dev mode before, and these were grayed out. Now that revision 2 is strictly confined, I can push it to the stable channel. But as I want to demo this in the web UI and on the command line, I'm only going to push it to the candidate channel for now. So if I hit apply, that's it. It's now in candidate. So if I go to the command line and just rerun snap info, you can now see that the same revision is in both of those channels. Okay, there's not multiple copies of my snap. It's just these channels are effectively like a pointer. So it's pointing to revision 2, and candidate is also pointing to revision 2. What I can also do is release from the command line. So if I wanted to, I could do Snapcraft, release, word salad, revision 2 to the stable channel. Done. So it now says the stable channel is now open. And again, if I do snap info, I can see the same as you would see if you did snap info word salad. You can see that the pointer for the stable channel now points at revision 2. There's one more thing I could do here. There's kind of no point me having the edge channel open or the candidate channel open anymore, because all the channels have the same version, and I'm finished with development for now, and I may as well close those channels. So here's another command for you. Snapcraft close, word salad, and then your list of channels that you want to close. So let me just close one for now. I'll just close edge so you can see what happens. Now, you might be thinking, what happens to all those people who have this snap installed from the edge channel? Well, see this little arrow here? You'll see one of those appear in the edge channel when I do this. So I'm closing the edge channel. And now if I do snap info, you can see you get a little arrow here. And did it say? No, it didn't. What's happened now is anyone who was tracking the edge channel will now be forwarded up the stack to beta, and there's nothing in the beta channel, so they would get forwarded up to the candidate channel, and there's something in the candidate channel, but I could close that one as well. And by closing all of those channels, any of you who had installed it from Edge will now be tracking the stable channel. So if any of you refresh, you might find that it gives you a message that says, word salad, edge channel is now closed, now tracking stable is probably the message that you would see. Or if you had installed from candidate, it would say word salad, candidate channel is now closed, now tracking stable. So this allows us to keep everyone on the stable channel. However, if you did install from the edge channel, and I put out a new update to the edge channel, once the edge channel opens up again, you will then get the edge builds. So you've already said, I'm willing to subscribe to updates in the edge channel, which might be buggy, might be risky, might not be as stable as the ones in the stable channel, might not be as well tested as the one in the stable channel. But because you chose to accept the risk of the edge channel at some point, you stay on the edge channel. I mean, there's nothing in there, so you get forwarded to stable. But in the future, if I push a new version to edge, or new revision to edge, you will get that, so you can carry on testing those bleeding edge versions, which is a really handy thing to do. You can, of course, opt out of that. Like, yeah, okay, I was testing that a while ago, but I don't really want to be on the bleeding edge of this crazy shell script application anymore. So you, as the end user, can snap refresh, word salad, whoops, back to stable. So as a user, you've now said, I want to only accept the risk that goes with applications that are in the stable channel. I don't want to test out candidate, beta, or edge snaps anymore. And so this gives the user control over what level of risk they're willing to accept from each of these channels. Ooh. Oh, snap refresh. Sorry, -- stable. I think that's right. Sorry, I got my command lines wrong. Hopefully. There we go. So now there's a couple of interesting things here. I already had revision 2 installed, so I didn't reinstall anything. All I did was change the pointer on my machine to say I'm tracking stable. It didn't re-download anything. It just said, okay, you're not tracking edge now you're tracking stable. So I'm only going to get updates on this machine from the stable channel. I think that's everything. So we did build a snap, we registered in the store, we pushed to the store, we managed our store page, and we installed the snap. I've put some of the commands that we use down the bottom here, and I will, as always, put those in the description below this video. I hope this has been useful, giving you an insight of how easy it is for you to publish your software in the Snap Store and how you have control over the appearance of the application and the release process through the channels. Should you wish to use all the channels, you don't have to. It's entirely optional. You could just push straight to stable if you had a strictly confined application. Setting your license, creating icons, and putting in your screenshots and videos in order to embellish your store listing. And then later, once it's got a decent install base, using those buttons to put on your download page or share them on your home page, you could come back to the metrics and see how well your Snap is performing and how many people are installing it and which versions are popular and which operating systems people are installing it on. I hope that's been a useful exercise for you. We'll certainly do another one of these. We've got a lot more to cover in future videos. If you have any suggestions for things you'd like us to cover, we could do more of the style where we try and snap something on the spot, or we can go more in depth about certain types of plugins or certain types of applications, or other information about how all of this stuff is structured, or other things at your request. Just let us know. Leave a comment in the box below. Alternatively, you could join us over on the Snapcraft forum, forum.snapcraft.io. We're all there, both developers of Snapd and developers of Snapcraft and all the associated technologies, and a community of people who are developing snaps as well. It's a very friendly place where you're welcome to join us there to get support. We also hang out on #Snapcraft on Freenode IRC, and we have a Twitter account, twitter.com/snapcraftio. This YouTube account, obviously, you've already found. And we're also on Mastodon as well, if that's your thing. Thanks for watching, everyone. And we'll see you next time. Probably not from Malta. Thanks for watching, everyone.